I strongly support the decision of the Nigerian Senate. I think it's a good direction in the right. It's a good decision from the Nigerian Senate. Going to war, there are a lot of implications in going to war. Not just the Nigerian Senate, but also the army chiefs of staff from the region who also met. And these are the people who will be depending on to fight. And they met in Abuja and decided that we should dialogue instead of fighting. Our region is in a very difficult situation now, and we need to study the situation and understand that, war will definitely not be the solution. So, directly to answer that question, I support the decision of the Nigerian Senate, and I think a lot of other parliaments in the region will do likewise if their country has to seek their approval to go to war.
But this whole stand by the ECOWAS, does it send a signal that, hey, look, Nigeria is back in the bloc, so if you have any mindset of embarking on coup, you should be careful?
Well, yes, Nigeria is the hub of ECOWAS. Nigeria has paid the highest dues when it comes to peacekeeping operation in our region. Nigeria led the peacekeeping operations in Liberia, followed by Ghana and other countries. Nigeria led the peacekeeping operations in Sierra Leone, again followed by Ghana and other countries. Nigeria led the impacts during the crisis we had in Gambia, followed by Senegal, Gambia, and other countries. Nigeria has paid its price. Nigeria has paid its due in the region, and now that the Nigeria has come back to the bloc in a very strong force with its newly elected president, I think one will be careful. But we've been doing some studies, and as chair of the political committee, political affairs committee in the parliament, I can say to you that the coup in West Africa is fast becoming more of a protest against the colonial masters of those countries other than an ECOWAS issue. Yes, they are member state of ECOWAS, but I think it's more about a protest towards France, how they've been treated over the years. I think they deserve a little more, and I think France now needs to call those countries to dialogue. I think that's where the problem is, and if we think that ECOWAS will solve this problem, I believe that we're still far from the reality. I think it's a problem between the colonial masters and themselves. They need to have additional equity. They need to have additional respect, and I think France now needs to play the leading role, because those countries are going to coup, namely, at least especially Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. When there's coup, you don't see them burning ECOWAS flag. You don't see them, condemning ECOWAS. Yes, they may do it in passing based on the stance of ECOWAS, but you see them burning the French flag and putting up the Russian flag. Does that send a message? Does that tell us that it's a purposeful? I think it's more work. I think France now need to put their house together. France need to call those countries to a dialogue and discuss equity, discuss, what is due them. You cannot have Niger with 80% of the country out of electricity, and France is getting natural resources out of Niger to supply current in France. 1/3 of the electricity in France is produced by natural resources that come from Niger. So it's a serious problem, and I think we need to, bite the bull by the horn and face the reality. Let's be honest about the situation, and I believe strongly, yes, they are regional members of our regional bloc. Yes, we condemn coup, but also let's look at the nitty-gritty. Let's look at the source of the problem. And I can tell you, from my understanding of what is obtaining in our region, France need to step up to the game. They need to do more. They need to give those countries the fair equity, and then they need to discuss with these countries for a way forward. It's more of a French problem than an ECOWAS problem.
In the midst of all this, what should be the way forward for ECOWAS as a bloc? And then talking about France, is this the time that we need to strengthen and have a single currency?
you know that ECOWAS bloc, the region would have had a single currency a long time ago if those countries did not have the foreign reserve in the French National Bank. All of the Francophone countries, BCAO Bank is, where they have their money, and their foreign reserve is in France. So France has been also undermining the effort by the region to have a single currency. France has played a very, very key role. Well, I mean, in one lens, you will see it as negative. In another lens, you will see it as passive. And maybe in a third lens, you could see it as positive, depending on where are you looking from. So I think even the issue of the single currency, if had not been the involvement of France to discourage those Francophone countries from having a single currency, by this time we were on fire in the implementation of the single currency. So ECOWAS, I believe, when my recommendation that I will be making was that ECOWAS now needs to engage France to bring those countries under the one roof and have a fair discussion, or else we will continue to have these problems. We have 8 Francophone countries. We have 8 Francophone countries in the bloc, and out of the 8, you have 4 already that have a military regime. So it's a serious problem. But don't forget, with all of the countries with the military regime, the situation in Guinea-Conakry is slightly different from what's obtaining in Mali. Because while Guinea have always had their own system, and for lack of better word, they've always been a deviant in the Francophone bloc. They have their own currency, the Guinea franc. They don't use it for CFA. And they have their own situation. So it's slightly different in Guinea than it is in those other countries. Again, I think our leaders, the authorities of head of states, need to look more at France involvement into the former colony than to just see it as an ECOWAS. I disagree with anyone that thinks there's an ECOWAS problem. It is not an ECOWAS problem. And I think that's why the citizens are standing up against ECOWAS, because it's like, look, we are actually looking for our true freedom, our true liberation. And ECOWAS is standing in the way of our suppression. So I think that's why the citizens are now seeing ECOWAS. But guess what? They are not burning ECOWAS flag. They are burning the French flag and putting up the Russian flag as a way of being defined or showing to France that we need a better part of this, a better piece of this power, and we need to be treated with equity. We need to be treated right. That's the message, and I think we need to be bold about it. We need to be frank about it, and we need to give this message.